Welcome to the Deadly Addictions channel. Today, I'm going to be talking about Captain America Brave New World. I think I had low expectations. However, I think it's a good movie and I enjoyed it. I found myself interested, and the little nitpicks I might have aren't they're not drastic. I'm a little surprised how much I was invested in the movie. Maybe it maybe it does a service to have a character like the Falcon progress in the movies and actually gets elevated and he pulls it off. So the movie's directed by Julius Onan. I don't know him well, but I did see the other movie. I think he did the Cloverfield Paradox, one of those movies. Um, but I'm gonna give him credit for pulling it together in a way where, like, it's not the best Marvel movie ever in that sense, but I think it fits well with Winter Soldier and the more down to earth type villains and events. I'll get to a couple of things later, but again, I was surprised. The director actually, because I know I'm thinking halfway through the movie, my brain wants to go into, what's going to happen and, what might be predictable or unpredictable. But at some point, I was really immersed in the movie. And yes, I've been accused of liking bad movies, so who the fuck knows? But, so it stars Anthony Mackie, Captain America, Danny Ramirez, Shira Haas, blah, blah, blah. Liv Tyler shows up. I'll get to that. Harrison Ford. I'll say that I enjoyed his performance, Harrison Ford. I can't say I've enjoyed a lot of his later stuff, but I don't know. There's something about it. I know William Hurt died. I love that actor in the role. But you're going to get a replacement. Harrison Ford's a big name, and I got to admit, he looked good. In both ways, but as the Red Hulk, and I'll get to that in a second. Now, the movie takes place sometime after Thaddeus Ross is elected president. They do a little thing in the beginning, but I like how they brought in the Eternals. They go into Celestial Island. I thought that was pretty interesting, and then it kind of surprised me that they went with adamantium. So they actually talk about Celestial Island, and they don't mention the Eternals. They do mention research and things they might be doing with this celestial that rose from the earth. New technology, weapons, and there's like an arms race type element to the movie. But bringing adamantium in, I thought it was really interesting since they technically brought Wolverine in with Deadpool and Wolverine has adamantium. Now, as a game player, role player, comic book reader, they did kind of beef up vibranium for the movies. And it does have special properties. It is partly what Captain America's shield is made of. But they do make a reference that it's adamantium stronger, which it is. It just doesn't have the side properties of like a kinetic absorption of vibranium, vibration. It absorbs it more. That's why Cap could jump off a building roof and land on the shield. It absorbs more of the impact, that type of thing. And they've done other things with vibranium. But introducing adamantium, I thought was pretty interesting. I was surprised. Again, I never look into what the movie's about. Usually trailers, it's very rare. But I didn't know much at all. And getting to the plot of the story, I actually liked it. Again, I'm kind of surprised how invested I was in the movie. I don't think I should be, maybe. I don't know. I haven't looked at reviews and all that stuff yet. But I kind of believed Harrison Ford as the the conflict in Ross. Now, I do have two kind of nitpicks. I'll get to that. The sidekick, the new Falcon, and I don't know what the fuck her name was, but she was like she was like in charge of the CIA people. Um, Good actor, I guess. I don't know what's her name. What the fuck they call him here? I don't know. So she might be a former Black Widow. I think Shira Haas. Anyway, I guess I do some really awesome prep. Well, I don't like to know about the movie too much, so I don't go into Wiki until I formulate what's going on in my head. And then once I upload my podcast, I'll then go look at other reviews and blurbs and all that shit. But anyway, so my two nitpicks are the Falcon sidekick and the former Black Widow. Now, it's not that they're bad. It's not like they don't. I just felt that you could have condensed the storyline, given us more Isaiah Bradley, because I love that. That guy is great, and he played awesome as Isaiah Bradley. I guess the first Captain America, right? Is that Carl Winston Lumbee? Great performance. I loved him in this. But to me, I saw the Falcon as maybe a necessary sidekick type eventuality. But that and the Israeli former Black Widow kind of just didn't fit for me. I would have liked a more condensed storyline with Isaiah. I did appreciate Bucky showing up, part of it. Yeah, spoilers. He doesn't do nothing. He just talks with Falcon or Sam Wilson. I'm sorry, Captain America. Now the plot, yeah. So they're talking about a new peace treaty, adamantium. They're gonna get all the nations together and start a new chapter in history, that type of shit. Thaddeus Ross, Harrison Ford has got a questionable past, and it's brought up, with the fucking the Hulk and destroying the Bronx they bring up. And I thought it was great that they brought Samuel Stearns in the comic books, the leader. I think that's his most popular, and who knows what he's gone by this time in day and age. And he was just at the end of the Hulk movie with Edward Norton. I mean, he's in the movie, but you don't know Mr. Blue, and he's trying to help Banner, but then when he finds out, he tries to cure him, it doesn't work, and the fucking Abomination guy, great actor, forces him to turn him into more than just a super soldier. I don't want to go into that fucking movie. But anyway, he gets turned into the Abomination, but at the end, the gamma blood leaks and drips on his head. It kind of fucks up his head. And it never went anywhere with that. I don't think they even mentioned like 16 years or whatever. They don't do nothing with it, but they bring him in here. And I thought it was interesting. I thought it was pretty smart. And he's smart too with the probability. I like that angle in it. And it didn't feel too overboard or too plot crazy. And it gave me another reference to Civil War. Captain America Civil War. I love that movie and how interesting it was that a human just pits them together and has these revelations, and you find out Bucky was killed the parents of Stark, and this had that feel to it. Now I don't think it's as good as a movie in that sense, and yet it has flaws in it. And the middle to end of the movie, what you would consider like a third act or whatever, can be a little messy here. But I think, like for me, I wasn't worried, or my mind didn't go into places, which is rare because I'm usually, even if I'm immersed, my brain, creative dungeon master, whatever the fuck, is always shooting in different directions. And I found myself just immersed in this movie, and I gotta give it credit for that and my appreciation for it. Again, no, it's, I watched Captain America Civil War like fucking 50 times. I don't see me watching this 50 times. I do like the idea of revisiting it, so it's not one of those movies I don't want to watch again. And all around, besides some little quirky nitpicks with actors who were good in the movie, just I didn't like to focus on the characters too much. Again, you could have just gone in a little bit of a different direction, and maybe that's one part of where my brain was going, where I would have loved to have seen more Isaiah Bradley and less of those two characters. Like, that's what I came away with. But as the progression goes through the movie and the peace treaties, at Jeopardy, and even the, I don't call it the twist, but Ross is not the best character, not in a written performance way, but, his past history is pretty fucked up in his, estrangement from his daughter, Betty, getting involved with Banner and the Hulk. And there's a balance of that in the movie where I think Harrison Ford pulls it off. I think he gives a really good performance here of a father. Is he really trying to change? Is he really trying to become a better man and do things right? Because some of the explanations and talks he has with Falcon, or maybe some other characters, gives you the indication that he's actually trying to change. But the plot and the development of finding out Samuel Stearns is the villain of the movie, technically, you start to find out that these twists are not so apparent, that the president, Harrison Ford, Thaddeus Ross, we'll call him, is not a evil, manipulative genius in this movie. But it is revealed that he's fucked up. So, spoiler alert, as you're progressing through this movie, it's like some good action in there. Some things I actually raised my eyebrows and was like, interesting, that was really cool. Again, the little nitpick about the side character and some of the CIA woman thing just got a little weird for me. But when you get into the heart of the movie and you find out there's this secret base, Echo One, I think it's called, and it was a prison for Samuel Stearns. He was there for like 16 years. I think that's where the mention of the years. And that Ross was giving him a promise of a pardon, and if he would help him do these things. And it's not actually too specific, but it was supposed to be something like, if I become president, I'll pardon you, whatever. And then it's spoiler alert that it's revealed that Ross would have died. His heart was fucked up, and it was Stearns who cured him and gave him these pills. So by the time in this movie, you're not really sure what's going on, midway, third act type, because it is a pretty long movie. It didn't feel that long in that sense, but that is he really being manipulated? But no, yes and no, because he knew Stearns was behind. He knew Isaiah Bradley was innocent, because Isaiah Bradley goes back to jail. There's some great moments in there too, with some of the talks they have. And he kept Stearns a prisoner, and I think one of the characters even says something like, no, he realized the gamma was in his blood and affected his brain. He kept upping the dosage, making Samuel Stearns worse. And there's some really twisted thing, because he does that to Ross, because the pills that Ross is taking to keep his heart steady are building up gamma radiation, I guess, or whatever, in his blood. And you're just waiting for that moment because and they don't do it right away. I got to give it credit too. Like, you know, for 30, 40 minutes in the movie, you're not seeing the indications of Ross is going to get angry and turn into a Hulk. You don't get that impression now. Trailers and stuff reveal things, possibly. I knew, and I avoided stuff, but I even knew. Even my thumb, or whatever fucking image, that there's going to be a Red Hulk. But I'm actually more satisfied that they kept it in check. Now, yes, I guess it's a CGI extravaganza, but I thought it looked great. So at a point in the movie, you're like, all right, when's he gonna fucking turn? What's gonna make him turn? And then, you know, midway, halfway, you know, getting to the end, they start upping that tension of, is this Ross gonna flip out? And then you know, part of the plan of the leader, or Samuel Stearns, is to make the world see Ross for what he truly is. Back in the, you know, a warmongering general, let's say, responsible for making the abomination and doing shady shit, keeping him in prison and breaking the promise. Because I think there's an allusion to, if Thaddeus would have became president and pardoned him, none of this would have happened. I mean, like, that's the indication here. Now, knowing from the comics and the great cartoon, it was a great Hulk cartoon. It was like fucking 2 of them. Awesome fucking cartoons. But the lead is a maniacal fucking maniac who tries to take over the world. In one of the fucking cartoons, he's like, he just creates fucking clones, and he has like a female Hulk clone. It's great. So they held back the right amount, I believe, of tension with Harrison Ford, and kind of opened them up a little more to maybe what they didn't let William Hurt do, which is, you know, I love my daughter, whatever. I've done some bad shit. I'm trying to be different. And I'm actually serious about it, but I'm hiding all this shit about Samuel Stern. I know what's going on. He's letting the fucking people go to jail. His mind control type shit. Because Stern's just a genius and his head's all fucked up, you know. And so you know what you're going to get. But I got to admit that the tension buildup was, I thought, appropriate. You know, I didn't want, you know, it to open up with the Red Hulk around and no one knows who it is and you're trying to figure it out. I thought it was well paced for that. You know, an interesting movie with, you know, you're using elements from other movies that just died and went nowhere, and they bring it up. They bring up the raft, which is like the prison, if anybody remember, and things that happen have meaning here. Like at one point, the guy says to Captain America, you know, how can you trust Ross? You know, he's like, yeah, he put me in prison. He hunted me and Captain America at the time, and like Black Natasha, for like 3 years. They were hunting him down or something like that. And then I gotta give him credit. There's 2 parts at the end of this movie which redeemed a couple of aspects of this movie, which surprised me. Again, I'm actually immersed. Yeah, my brain went a little one way here and there, a little bit of nitpicks. But then at the end, they give the fucking Falcon sidekick an excellent fucking scene in the hospital bed. And they give fucking Wilson and Isaiah a great scene, which kind of wraps things up in that way where, you know, I didn't feel hit over the head by the, you know, the tropes and the, you know, message, which you see all these fucking clickbait shit going for in a general sense for almost every movie that comes out, not even just MCU, you know, the fucking death, it's dying, yeah. But I've discussed my biases, you know, my love for comics, and you know, I like the Green Lantern movie, whatever. I just had an image of like Ryan Reynolds coming out and shooting me, you know, the outtakes of his movie. So again, interested. They had some redeeming factors. They even brought at the end Liv Tyler to talk to her father. And I thought, nice touches on this. I alluded to some things like there could be a bad movie here, but maybe I get the impression that someone with talent and love for maybe the characters, movie making in general, really did a good job on elevating some of the material here. Again, I'm not fond of the sidekick or whatever. He's one of my nitpicks, but at the end, when he has that talk with Sam, I felt it. I was like, okay, I get it. I just wish it was like less in the movie and with that other one. But it comes full circle in a way I thought really, like it helped pay off. And it's very rare for me. You get a couple of surprises here and there. And they had a couple of side villains, like Sidewinder, played by a great actor. He was in like recent Star Wars thing. He played like a pretty big villain. I think on Mandalorian. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, and there's some like cool stuff, like Wakandan tech built into Falcon's wings, which becomes like I don't know, I guess Chekhov's gun type thing, but used in an interesting way. It wasn't too overblown or too crazy, in my opinion. I didn't feel like, oh shit, this is just here for that. Maybe a little bit more with Samuel Stearns. I think it's always a problem, or not a problem, but it could be tricky when you're keeping your villain secret. You only start showing little bits of him here and there, and then through his actions and movie making, you feel the weight of what he's trying to do, and then he's revealed, and then he's talking and he's acting, and I think it's kind of be tricky. Again, if you just cut a little bit out here and there, it would have worked. But bringing things around by the end of the movie, I thought redeemed some of the little things that might have seemed very weaker for me in the movie. Again, I harken back to like Winter Soldier. I mean, yeah, that's a better personal, a story with Bucky and him. And they didn't go overboard here. Like, I was waiting to be, cheesed out and really bothered by some of the humor. And no, I think they had a good amount of, they always got to teach you something. Look, it's fucking Hollywood, 2025, Marvel, Disney, whatever. I think Kathleen Kennedy's out, right? I think she's retiring. But, not every Marvel movie is going to be spectacular. I understand that. I give them more benefit, which I would have done for DC's universe, and so I have hopes for the Superman. I hope it's great. I love Superman. But on a steady basis, I'm still impressed. I'm still invested in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, even what would we call labeled like mishaps or things like that. And some things have to do with production and actors and personal shit that gets involved, and things got to be moved around. I think they're doing an excellent job in that sense. I'm never really bored, disappointed. Yes, I do roll my eyes. Yes, I do think, oh, I could do this better, maybe write this a little better. And then, maybe I get, I'll be honest, I get those feelings about this movie too. And I've just explained some of it where I would have been a little bit more into Isaiah Bradley and that connection he has with Captain America, former Falcon. And you have the side character here and there, maybe have a little breakthrough moment. But I get the weight that it needed to carry. Maybe it just could have been executed a little better. The former Black Widow girl, I get the feeling, because again, I avoid everything, but I think there's a Thunderbolts movie coming out, right? I'm not sure who's in that. Again, I try to avoid stuff, but eventually, we'll have a conversation, me and my friend, and it'll come up, and I'm not going to say, no, don't fucking tell me. I guess that's the most I get from my information that I don't really fucking kind of want, but I'm going to, because I would never have found Argyle in that sense. It kind of slipped right by me, and I love that. I think that was last week's podcast that I put out if I'm going to put this out sooner. So Captain America Brave New World, I think it stands up for a decent movie in the Marvel Universe. A really good Captain America movie, I gotta admit. I'm not super interested in the Falcon as Captain America in a sense. And I do know, maybe not have followed the comics that well, because at that time, I stopped collecting comics around that time. I'll get to it in a second, but I always went and read the stories online and watched YouTube channels that would read the comics, that type of thing. And I remember the transition where, you know, Cap dies, Bucky becomes the new Captain America with a weird fucking suit, but he carried a gun and blah, 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 blah. And then the Falcon does become Captain America in the comics. And I'm impressed by how invested I was in the movie. Now, again, maybe that comes with, 15 years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, me enjoying most of them, almost every one of them to a certain extent. Maybe, if I was talking about it with other people, I'm not going to argue that's a great movie. No, I might argue I loved it. Right? It's just a opinion thing. But there is some critical acclaim that you give and some real criticism that is valuable and means something. So I don't like dismissing that. I'll admit I like a bad fucking movie rather than sitting there and arguing some, silly things. And people just don't realize there's a difference between like objectively trying to critique something and just, oh, I fucking love this. I had fun as shit. Anyway, Captain America Brave New World, I get a surprised a couple of parts of the ending where I thought they paid things off. Throughout the movie, they brought things back that I was actually interested in. Externals, there we go. Not the best movie. I liked it. And I love the comic book idea of it and some of the runs they've done. The idea of Celestials, oh my God, bringing out all that shit in just would blow my mind. And for so long, it's forgotten or put to the side. And they bring it back in a pretty interesting way that would kind of be real, right? This huge thing rises up. People are going to be vying for it. And then you're introducing, as the plot does, I think President Ross is doing like a talk and he starts bringing up technology, defense, that sort of breakthrough stuff, and adamantium, tougher than or stronger than vibranium, that type thing. And I wonder what they do, because it's not like I guess you know what? There was a run in the comics. I forgot what run it was, and it was like all the people who had like adamantium at some point. Now they all don't have it. All right, let's call it true adamantium. Wolverine has bonded to his bones. It's very rare that someone has exactly that, but somebody might have. Cyber was a villain. He had adamantium skin. Oh God, I remember how they killed that motherfucker too. They because he's tough and he has like psychedelic drugs that ooze out of his fucking claws and stuff. He was a sick villain, and he was in those comics that had weird drawings and stuff. The 2-in-1s maybe. And anyway, so they killed him with like beetles that eat flesh. They needed the adamantium melt down to put it back into Wolverine, and that run, Wolverine. Okay, so Cannonball Sam Guthrie is getting beat up by the Dark Riders. Whoever the fuck is being led by, I think, Cable's son from the future. Jesus Christ, where the fuck am I going with all this? All right, so he wants to make Wolverine death. One of the Horsemen bond his bones because Wolverine didn't have it at the time. Magneto sucked it out, right? Oh my God! All right, so Sam Guthrie's getting beat up by the Dark Riders. They've got Wolverine in the tank. They're putting adamantium in his body, and he rejects the adamantium, which is kind of like saying he devotes his willpower to his healing factor and just rejects everything, turns feral, like loses his nose. It's fucking crazy. And his claws become jagged and fucking huge. I loved it. And he tears the shit out of fucking Cable's son and kills him. And then like says sorry. He tells Cable, I'm sorry. Like, and you know what? I think one of the great lines from that comic is Tyler's like, you know, he worships Apocalypse or survival of the fittest. And it's something to the extent of Tyler wanted to make the apex predator, and at the top, and you see Wolverine's on top of this thing. So he made his own death and ultimate killer Wolverine. Anyway, all right, so that's done. I don't know what the fuck we're doing here, comic book stuff. But anyway, Adamantium being introduced in this, I thought it was a surprise, and I thought it was really cool timing with the Deadpool stuff. Because look, I'm not an actor, like I don't know the passion or whatever. But Hugh Jackman, you don't have to spend 9 months becoming a fucking Adonis, cuts, eating boiled chicken, whatever. And yeah, you look amazing. But you can just have fun with the role now. Like you're in shape. You're a decently in shape guy normally, I would guess. Because I wouldn't want him to do the movies until he's 80. Anyway. Captain America Brave New World, surprisingly enjoyable. I was immersed. I was actually quite invested in the movie, and I wasn't expecting it. And maybe that's one of the things about going in, you know, with low expectations and what are you going to, you know, see. And okay, so the Falcon becomes Captain America. And by the way, I love the show. And that was another thing, me and my friend, I was so surprised how much, what was it called? Captain America and the Winter Soldier. It was like a 6-episode series. I loved it. I loved Hawkeye too. Oh my God. Again, Bucky does a cameo, really just to talk while the kid's in the hospital, the rookie sidekick. And again, let's get to the end of the movie. And yes, Ross does flip out at the conference, turns into a Red Hulk. And just, I thought he looked amazing. He's fucking wrecking shit, fucking everybody up. And it was a really cool fighter pilot scene that was a tense moment. You thought he was going to change. Like he came this close to changing. And it kind of upset Samuel Stearns. But here at the press conference, almost like when you think the movie's ending type thing, he flips out, becomes a Red Hulk, and it's a fucking battle. Pretty cool, interesting. And again, you know, certain callbacks to things that I thought were done well. Because at first it doesn't work, where he's like, clear out this area. The Captain America says he lowers the Red Hulk down. He's like, remember Betty? Remember the cherry blossoms? And he's like, fuck, it didn't work. But eventually it kind of does. And I thought it paid off well. And again, to have Liv Tyler at the end, to have those little buttons on the closure of things, I thought it was executed well. So much that it kind of elevated other parts that I really wasn't expecting to like, or at the time were like, you know, this is annoying, like even the sidekick or the Falcon kid. At the end, it pays off, and I felt better about it. Okay, the Israeli former Black Widow chick. Okay, again, these are just like thoughts that I had that could maybe condense it. Because I gotta admit, I really loved Isaiah Bradley. I like his whole thing, even in the comics. At some point in the comics, the Avengers get disbanded. Bullshit, bad shit happens, and the Young Avengers are formed. And they idolize the Avengers, and they kind of duplicate, you know, or each one pays homage to. And is oh God, what's his fucking name? Holy shit, I can't remember everything. It's fucking New Avengers. Patriot, maybe, something like that. Anyway, he's Isaiah's nephew or grandson. And he wears, I think he uses a replica of Cap's original triangle shield. And one of the cool twists about that is he has like Captain America superpowers, and you find out like in the first arc that he doesn't. He's been taking a pill from like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, which is the comic book Mr. Hyde character. And so he doesn't have superpowers, but he was taking a pill that gave him powers. So I was invested a lot. I do enjoy Isaiah Bradley. I wish he were doing a little bit more with him. I believe he's just one of those actors for me, and I guess in this, because I don't remember him in a lot of things, but he is familiar, that he really added a lot of weight and gravitas to the movie, as I thought Harrison Ford did. Again, you got a couple of moments there where he's really a troubled old man general who's done bad shit and trying to do good shit. He almost died. He's lying for 16 years, got a criminal. He turned into a gamma-brained maniac, and he plans everything out. He knows the probabilities of everything and sets everything up. I thought it was done pretty well. And yeah, I would be happy to see Captain America Sam Wilson. I didn't think it would be, not that it's not possible. I like the actor, and I gotta admit, he pulls his weight and shows he can be the star in this, and that's like impressive. I gotta give it credit. So you get the big fight at the end with the Red Hulk and having to eventually, fuck him up, because Captain America's wings are like vibranium shit. They cut him, and even his darts or projectiles go through his skin, and bullets don't. And that's used as one of the final elements and blows of the fucking movie. But it comes down to a talk, like he's like, this is your moment. You change man, show Betty. And then he sees the cherry blossoms again, and he shrinks down. And they didn't show the CGI, but they showed a shadow. You can do things like that and pull it off, and in your brain, you're not thinking, oh, you're cutting costs on CGI. It's just part of the movie. Again, not perfection, not the best, but surprisingly drew me in. It made me care about the characters. Okay, maybe not two of them, but the elements that come through at the end redeem that in a certain way for me. I'm kind of surprised. I enjoyed this movie. Maybe music and length of the movie could be something argued. Like when I go and I'll look after I upload my thing, I'm not going to be surprised if people say it was a little drawn out. But again, like Winter Soldier, I like a story that develops. Yeah, you had some weirdness with the the character like Sidewinder. Like how invested is he? He's a great actor, so is he the main villain? Are they gonna try to pull that thing? And the layers on it worked well for me. Again, nothing it's just hard for me to say. It's not the best ever, but because I'm so surprised and I was so drawn in, it's kind of up there with me for a movie, and a Marvel movie at that. And I guess I'll leave it at that. There's potential in the character, the actor, the cast. You can bring people back in that sense. I love the callbacks and what you dropped off on certain things that should be huge. Because again, you're gonna have drawbacks, and you're gonna be cornered when you put out movies and then don't address the big things that happen. So yeah, the externals might not have been the cornerstone and breakout Marvel movie, but something so monumental happened that it was just never addressed. And I'm happy that they addressed it. Again, it's celestial. Like, I think in the comics, some of them are like 2,000 feet tall. So it's like hand is like reaching the sky. And you only see the part of the head and the arms, the hand. So you got to bring something like that back. Kudos for that. And you didn't go overboard with it. You didn't have, you know, okay, there's a couple of scenes here and there. But I'm just going to give this movie a thumbs up. I recommend it. I'm surprised. I'm invested, drawn into the movie, and I get a good feeling watching something like this where the elements are, they're there, but you're not hit over the head too much. You're not like beaten to submission about some of the themes they're trying to, bring to the forefront. And I give credit to it. So I recommend Captain America, Brave New World. Is there something I'm missing here? What the fuck get the feeling. I don't know. Something's like, even in my notes, sometimes I'm a little more lazy than other times, but I'll give a definite recommendation, especially if you're into the Marvel movies and you've invested in what builds up, even if it doesn't ultimately super pay off. Because I think you can hand wave something like the Doctor Strange multiverse movie away because of, it's different universe, different Earth. But then you do a callback here, and one of the end credit scenes, it's like the others. So they're going to do an incursions thing, which I'm not the biggest fan of from the comics, but really powerful celestial beings are smashing universes together. And in that one, I think that's why I think it's stupid, but like Doctor Doom makes a battle world. There's a callback to the Secret Wars with the Beyonder. And anyway, I think they go there. So you can get the callback also for the Doctor Strange, like something you thought was monumental that they kind of dropped. So I got, this shows promise for me. And there you go. Captain America, Brave New World. I recommend it. I liked it. Drawn in. Got a good vibe from it. Was happy that they kind of put buttons on things and calling back things that should have been important. All right, everybody. Till next time, take care.